We'll do pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll do a roll call. Mr. Ostrowski.
Here.
Mr. Galovich.
Sure.
I'm here. Mr. Carter.
Here.
Mr. Gibbs. Ms. Lorden. Here. Mr. McConnell. Mr. McCarthy. Mr. Arndale.
Alright, so last month we really didn't have an official meeting, there wasn't enough people here to really hold it, but we still went through the motions to bring up any other topics, so you want to read
Sure. Okay, Mr. Ostrowski spoke with Mike Biscuit from Lines of America. He's still working on the access road issue. Father James Dudash from the Community of the Crucified gave us a letter dated 9/19/2019. Change of zoning from R1 to B2 was tabled, better suited as R3. Last June, Father Dudash came to Planning Commission to request zoning change and was told any changes would have to go through the process. He thought that since there was a lot of R3 in the area, it would not be a problem. Mr. Ostrowski stated that it is already zoned R1. A lot of misinformation has been given. A Dollar General would not even be a possibility in that area. A decision was made over a year ago to move forwards, not backwards. And Councilman Vodine asked if the art studio was still a possibility. Mr. Ostrowski replied, no, they are looking elsewhere after the way they were treated in Munhall. Mr. Ostrowski also stated we need to take chances and move forward as other towns are doing. Lori Maffeo, realtor for the Community of the Crucified, asked when reviewed what the occupancy permits allow. Councilman Bellis asked Mr. Cannon what is allowed. Mr. Cannon said B2, R3, and R1. Father Dudash said there were combined citizen concerns at last council meeting that a drug rehab facility could come into that area. Father Dudash had no problem staying in B2. Mr. Ostrowski asked why can't we make changes to benefit the whole community. Lawrenceville took a chance. He said we need an educational night. He appreciates everyone here, but we do not have a quorum with only 4 members in attendance tonight. Father Dudash stated that more parking spaces are taken up in the proposed area by the charter school than residents. Mr. Ostrowski said the corridor on Andrew is already B2. Why not take a chance? 10th Avenue only has 15 houses on Andrew to McClure. Father Dudash said the ground floor of the school is a gymnasium, and Jason Carter stated you can't put residents on the ground floor of B2. They can be above it, but not on the ground floor. Mr. Ono asked if the schools and churches were zoned the same. He was told they were. Then why change zoning? The school would be for profit and need zoned differently. Lori Maffeo said they wanted to be on the tax roll so they can include others than just an art school. Mr. Ono asked when is a school a school? Mr. Ostrowski said we need to table further discussion until next month. Lori Maffeo said something needs to be done before the building continues to decay. They came in asking for a better solution. One is not a better solution. Mr. Ostrowski stated that when there was a potential buyer, there was a mob mentality, not the way things should be done in Munhall. Father Dudash stated we lost a buyer because he was called and told we don't want your business here. Mayor Brennan complained that the residents from the area in question were not informed of this meeting. Father Dudash said he called and checked when the meeting would be. Sue Bell stated that the meeting is always on the second Wednesday of the month, and that has not changed in the past 10 years. If there is no business to discuss, then there is no meeting. Mr. Ostrowski said he will check with Council President Rob Falls about a public meeting. Mr. Cannon stated, here are your choices. R1, B2, which is 8th and North 9th, already zoned and should extend to 10th Avenue. R3 to make changes. He advised we look further into changing more streets now. Mr. Ostrowski stated that council must make the arrangements for a public meeting. New business, there was none. Communication, we will meet again on October 9th. Remarks for the good of the committee, none. We adjourned at 8:13. Motion adjourned by Mr. Ondo, seconded by Mr. Carter. Meeting notes, also in attendance, Mr. Cannon, Munhall Code Enforcer, and Mayor Brennan. Council members, Mr. Bells and Mr. Bodine, also members of the community, Mrs. Onda, Mrs. Brennan, Mrs. Carter, Mrs. Fry, and Mr. Cassior. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes?
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Reports of committee and delegates. Nothing. Old business. Anything? All right. The only thing that I have is I spoke to President Foss and a few other people in regards to the public hearing. That hearing, the date will actually be picked by our solicitor. He will announce it at the council meeting next week. At that point there, it'll be advertised and posted for the hearing. And we will know more next week. I'm trying to get the solicitor, and his schedule was trying to, it was hard picking a date. So he's gonna try to see what his next availability is, and it'll be announced at the next meeting. So it'll be posted in accordance with, you know, all the regulations and stuff like that. So that way, again, we can hold an actual public forum and get all the questions answered the correct way, and not have anybody second guessing anything or wondering if this or that. So that'll be addressed and then move on from there.
And he'll be in attendance, correct?
Yeah, he will be in attendance.
Dave?
Dave will be in attendance. So you'll get the actual code enforcers, the legality of it, and you'll get the zoning of it. So any questions that arise, instead of second guessing them or, you know, going through the motions of making everybody wonder about it and then everything spreading like it did last time, that'll all be answered. So, you know, hope that everyone shows up that had the concern and everything will be answered correctly. So I think that's the education that everyone, I think, really needs. So.
Good.
Anything else under old business? New business?
Well, here goes a quick question. From the planning side of it, are you still recommending B2 to the council or R3?
Again, being that it's come back last month, I mean, we have a quorum. I mean, there's, I guess, enough of us here to actually take a vote. I mean, it was brought up by Father Dudash last month to change that. He was okay with whatever we decided to go with. I mean, we can bring it up again tonight to make a recommendation, but in all honesty, I'd like to table that recommendation till we have the public hearing and get everything answered before we move forward with that.
I agree.
Well, once you have a public hearing, when are you going to have the public hearing?
All this hearings,
Deciding on R3 or B2?
well, again, nothing, to me, nothing has changed. I mean, he came back and wanted he wanted information on changing it. He didn't ask about formally changing it. That was what we talked about last meeting. I think what we need to do is get questions answered. What's the difference between the R3 and the B2? So that way the public's aware of it, and then, you know, again, as I stated last month, my personal thing is I would leave it a B2, but again, that we brought back to the board to have that vote after hearing all the ins and the outs. All right, anything else under new business? Communications. It was brought up in the workshop session for the Halloween parade, so that'll be a fun time held by all. I know I get a lot fatter and I eat a lot of candy, so there will be a bunch of that floating around. And then one thing Sue mentioned too, we were actually talking, because we had a lot of people last month that were really curious what was going on, and we kind of got sidetracked a lot. And right now we run our meetings based upon a standard meeting that you would run anywhere. But we don't really have an area for public interaction, you know. So we are gonna change that for the upcoming meeting, to have, like what council has pretty much, is a window of, anybody who wants to talk, you know, is more than welcome to talk. I don't really have a problem with, you know, having it, you know, I don't wanna have to do it beforehand, but I mean, people should have the voice their concern, so, I mean, as long as we know who's here, who's gonna be talking, maybe before the meeting starts, you know, we can recommend that to anybody coming in, you wanna speak, just sign up, and then when that comes out, then we'll go from there and address it. We did get sidetracked, I think, a lot last meeting, and we really need to just stay on topic, because I think it'll be better for everybody.
Where are they posted at?
I think from my understanding, Boomer, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're gonna be posting on the telephone poles, it'll be advertised in the newspaper, I guess, or...
No, I'm talking about just our meetings, are they gonna be posted?
No, our meetings are already posted online, so they're listed on the website, from my understanding,
I didn't
talking
see it.
They
to
were.
Becky. I've never looked, to be honest with you.
I looked at it, I didn't see it.
Um,
And then you type it in, you get something like 2018.
Yeah, I don't know, and in all honesty, when I talked to Becky, she says they're actually posted on there, and I don't know if it's under planning commission or
I
not,
could be
but...
doing it wrong, I'm just saying.
Oh, trust me, I'll be honest, I didn't even check. I took her word for it, because I've been really busy at work, but, I mean, we can look it up and check before we all leave here. Joe?
PJ, they're advertised in January of every year, all the meetings are. Whatever meeting it is, they're, you know, council meetings, planning meetings, zoning, you know, they are advertised. And I guess it would be the Post-Gazette, you know, since we don't have really a local paper. But they are, you know, we have to advertise them at least once a year, and and it's in January that they are advertised. And it's for the whole year.
Yeah, and I know our meetings sometimes are not consecutive, because there's nothing that may come up. But for the most part, when we're here and we're meeting, we usually let everybody know, hey, we're gonna have a meeting next month. And if something changes, Sue usually does a pretty good job of letting everybody know that, hey, we are gonna definitely have one, so.
I might be wrong about Jan, they might be
Yeah,
December,
and that's
December or
Yeah, I'm not sure.
January.
Yeah.
We need them on the website, though.
And I really,
Yeah.
and I really did, when I talked to Becky, she said they were listed there under the planning commission.
can get 'em
And
on
again,
there.
I could be wrong, I didn't even check myself, so.
Okay, I haven't.
But other than that, anything else for the good of the committee? Cool. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.